Did Hillary Clinton just call Trump supporters Nazis? I mean, this is crazy, you guys. See what former Secretary of State said about former President Donald Trump and his supporters on CNN. Check this out.
And you know, one other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it. Now, it may be a leap for some people, and a lot of others may think, I don't want to go there. I don't want to say that. But please, open your eyes to the danger that this man poses to our country, because I think it is clear and present for anybody paying attention.
I mean, honestly, guys, why is anybody still talking to Hillary? Didn't she lose to Trump by a landslide? Seriously, a lot of people wish you just pretty much just go away and just get sent straight to prison for the Russian disinformation that she tried pinning on Donald Trump back in 2016. But instead, here she is, along with other Democrats trying to paint our former president as a fascist. This after President Joe Biden told America to lower the temperature in U.S. politics.
I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together.
Yeah, that lasted about 10 seconds. Then they're back to calling Trump a threat to democracy. But now they've upped the attacks and they're now calling Trump a fascist. Harris is on top of the list of people calling our former commander-in-chief that dirty word. Anderson Cooper asked her in a recent town hall if she thinks Donald Trump is a fascist, and she outright said yes, she does. Well, speaking in defense of Donald Trump and downright slamming Harris is no less than Holocaust survivor Jerry Wartski. Watch.
I'm 94 years old and survivor of Auschwitz and the death marches. Adolf Hitler invaded Poland when I was 9 years old. He murdered my parents and most of our family. I know more about Hitler than Kamala will ever know in 1,000 lifetimes. For her to accuse President Trump of being like Hitler is the worst thing I've ever heard in my 75 years living in the United States. I know President Trump, and he would never say this, and Kamala Harris knows this. She owes my parents and everybody else who was murdered by Hitler an apology for repeating this lie.
Why should the Jewish people support President Trump?
Because he's a mensch. I believe that President Trump is definitely going to be good for Israel, because in everything that he's done up to now was in favor. He never double-crossed anyone, and he never showed any weakness. Watching President Trump pray for the hostages at the Ohel and getting to spend time with him so meaningful. He has always stood with the Jewish people and the state of Israel.
I got the video from Sami Farhad on X, who describes himself as a Lebanese patriot. Now, along with the video defending Trump, Farhad also commented how Kamala Harris is also clueless about history. They said that if she knew how Adolf Hitler treated Jews in extermination camps, she wouldn't even think about comparing the former president of the United States to one of the most genocidal psychopaths in human history. They ended the tweet with, "Shame on you, Kamala." And shame indeed on Kamala Harris and to the Democratic Party, because they're not stopping with the inflammatory rhetoric. In fact, the fascist comment started when former Trump chief of staff and retired four-star Marine General John Kelly told the New York Times a few days ago that Donald Trump fit the definition of a fascist and that he would rule like a dictator if elected again. Well, Trump himself, let's just say he had some choice words for this disgraced general himself. Here, watch.
Those comments made by the former chief of staff to President Trump, John Kelly, in which he called Trump a fascist. He first defined what fascism is and what a fascist is by the textbook definition of the word, and then he applied it to the former president. There's audio recording of that. Let's remind our viewers that John Kelly is a retired four-star Marine general. He's a Gold Star father, having lost his son on the field of battle. So Kamala Harris, in making her case to the American people yesterday in a town hall with CNN, essentially echoed what John Kelly said, given that so many of the former president's cabinet members and folks who've worked for him have used the very same language that General Kelly is using. How is he responding to that?
Yeah, you're right, Vlad. Last night, Vice President Kamala Harris said that she agreed that Trump is a fascist. What Trump is saying is that what John Kelly says is a lie. He said that Kelly has Trump derangement syndrome. He called Kelly a bad general. He says that he didn't want his advice anymore, and he told Kelly to move on. So really, he's just trying to discredit Kelly and discredit his claims and these stories that he's telling.
A lowlife and a bad general. That's the kind of person that Democrats are quoting, and the mainstream media is just all so happy to repeat over and over again. I mean, seriously, guys, they're even parroting it over on The View. Here it is, along with the response from panelists Sean Duffy and Jessica Tarlov. Watch.
I think that to say that he's a fascist is completely accurate. I mean, it does fit the definition. He wants to send the military in to attack his opponents. I mean, what more do you really need to hear?
Well, the Wall Street Journal took on those recent comments from Joy Behar and said the fear of fascism would have more credibility if Democrats didn't abuse power themselves. If they lose the election against a flawed Mr. Trump, it won't be because he is a wannabe Mussolini. The reason will be the Biden-Harris record. Your thoughts?
So
John?
Democrats have shattered all the norms. Again, a $500 million lawsuit in settlement or judgment in New York City against Trump, multiple cases against him criminally and civilly, the two impeachments, the Russia collusion hoax. But when you're talking about what's happened in the government, the fact that you had, I know the way the House works, you have Republicans put half, the committee on, Democrats put the other half. They did this committee on Russia collusion and only allowed Nancy Pelosi to put members on the committee.
That's not true.
It is true. Because Kevin McCarthy put his list of members in, Nancy didn't take them, and they put Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney on the committee. So Republicans, but not the ones that the leader picked. And so they're shattering the rules all around the way this government works. I mean, and I think Donald Trump to go, listen, let's get back to normalcy. Let's get back to actually respecting each other.
How big Arnold Palmer was? Are you kidding me, Sean?
But listen, we're talking about how the...
No. You tell me, if Joe Biden had stood up there and said, I saw Arnold Palmer in a shower once, and boy, that guy's got it going on down there. What would you have said? That he wasn't fit to lead?
That doesn't affect the way the government works, the way the government functions.
That you have an insane person as the head of the government?
Right.
And when you say we shatter the norms, maybe the guy who got indicted is the one that shattered the norms.
Maybe it's the lawfare that was used to indict him.
Republican leaders of the House and Senate are already begging Vice President Kamala Harris to stop escalating her rhetoric. But still, the Democratic nominee refused to take back her claim that former President Donald Trump is a direct threat to American democracy and unfit to serve. She even referenced former Trump aides like retired Marine Corps John Kelly that said that they've been very clear about the danger and threat that Donald Trump poses to America and the fact that he is unfit to serve. Regardless of the threats that she's causing in Trump's life, Harris thinks, and let me quote this for you guys, the American people deserve to hear that and know about that so that they can make a decision based on what's in the best interest of themselves and their families. Not only has Kamala Harris said that Donald Trump is a fascist, but she and her campaign have also promoted claims by former Trump White House Chief of Staff John Kelly that the 45th president expressed admiration for Hitler and his generals. There's really just no stopping her at this point, I mean, no less than House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell called out Harris earlier for escalating threats against Trump by labeling him a fascist and promoting claims that he is like Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. According to Speaker Johnson, Harris may want the American people to entrust her with the sacred duty of executive authority. But first, she must abandon the base and irresponsible rhetoric that endangers both American lives and institutions, especially since Johnson mentions how he and Mitch McConnell have both been briefed on the ongoing and persistent threats to former President Donald Trump by adversaries to the United States. So, the House Speaker called on the Vice President to take these threats seriously, stop escalating the threat environment, and help ensure President Trump has the necessary resources to be protected from those threats. I mean, are we the only ones remembering how violent things got for our former president this summer? Donald Trump was shot in the ear by a would-be assassin at the Pennsylvania campaign rally and targeted by another while golfing at his club at West Palm Beach, Florida. After those incidents, both Biden and Harris issued messages about not allowing this violence to be normalized and that we all must do our part to ensure that this incident does not lead to more violence. Well, as Johnson and Mitch McConnell pointed out, these words have proven hollow. According to their statement, in the weeks since the second sobering reminder, the Democratic nominee for president of the United States has only fanned the flames beneath a boiling cauldron of political animus. They also mentioned how her most recent and most reckless invocations of the darkest evil of the 20th century, they seem to dare to boil over, and that the vice president's words more closely resemble those of President Trump's second would-be assassin than her own earlier appeal to civility. Sure enough, though, Ryan Ruth, the second would-be Trump assassin, said in a letter how it's up to you now to finish the job. And it looks like the Democrats are lining up Trump as a target again to yet another would-be assassin to try robbing voters of their choice before Election Day. Because people like Ruth and Crooks, they believe the rhetoric of Biden and Harris and they acted on it. As Trump said himself, their rhetoric is causing him to be shot at when he is the one that's going to be saving the country. And they are the ones that are destroying the country, both from the inside and out. And don't be mistaken, guys, the attacks are continuing. It's just that mainstream media has been covering it up so we don't hear about it. Trump was apparently also targeted in a potential third assassination attempt by a suspected Iranian agent who was accused of plotting to hire hitmen to kill Trump in the New York City in early August or September. And last year, the Secret Service was also made aware of another plan to take out Trump via a possible drone attack. As the former president said on Truth Social last month, big threats on his life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. Democrats say that the Republican security detail has been since enhanced by the Secret Service to be commensurate with that of President Biden's. But seriously, guys, they're not toning down their rhetoric that continues to contribute to these threats in the first place. You know what I mean? Drop a quick yes in the comment down below and light up the like button if you guys agree with what we're saying here. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell too. Appreciate that, you guys. Again, we're trying to hit 700,000 subs by November 5th. That's election day, by the way. Okay, so it's not just Donald Trump that they're trying to paint as fascists. It's his supporters too. More specifically, MSNBC contributor Paul Waldman suggests Americans voting for Trump over rocketing food prices are secret fascists. Unbelievable. He said this in a post on Twitter rival Blue Sky. He wanted to share his take on the presidential race 2 weeks out from Election Day, where polls are showing Trump holds an advantage on the economy. And in doing so, he said this: if you don't like the fact that groceries are more expensive a couple of years ago, and your response to that is, let's try fascism, guess what? It's not about the grocery prices. You see, guys, it's not just Donald Trump. It looks like they're targeting pretty much anybody who dares to speak up about the problems in our country. A week before his post criticizing Donald Trump supporters for their economic motives, Waldman shared a Substack column titled, "Yes, Donald Trump is a fascist." He argued that with just weeks to go before the election, there's no better or more useful term to describe him and the threat that he presents. And he didn't stop there. He also said that a good portion of the public is supporting Trump precisely because fascism sounds great to them. It's just what they've been waiting for. So yeah, this confirms it. For Walden, and goodness knows how many other Democratic elites, even Donald Trump's supporters are fascist too. I mean, Hillary Clinton is also making the extraordinary claim that Donald Trump is holding a rally at Madison Square Garden in New York to reenact a Nazi event at the same venue 85 years ago. It looks like she just can't get over losing to the man. Now, I showed you guys a clip earlier. According to Hillary, Donald Trump is seeking to reenact the Nazi rally that took place in the New York City venue just over 6 months before the start of World War II. In fact, she gave this as an example of why she agreed with former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly's classification of Trump as a fascist. For her, the term fits for Trump, and this Madison Square Garden rally is further proof of that. So now Trump can't hold a rally anymore without him and his followers being called fascists and Nazis? Oh boy. Yeah, there's just something not right there. You know what I'm saying? Now, honestly, I find that a little bit disgraceful and even disgusting for Hillary Clinton to even suggest that. Then again, I really wouldn't expect anything less from her or CNN. But what about you guys? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Are Hillary and the Democratic Party already going too far with their rhetoric? Drop a quick yes or no down below. Let me know what you guys think. We're just a few short days away from the very most important election of our lives, guys. Make sure you guys always stay updated, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, because we're always dropping new content around the clock. In fact, we just uploaded a new video about Stephen Smith blowing up on Hannity on Fox News after Kamala's big flip-flop on CNN Town Hall. Guys, seriously, it is a must-watch after this video. Be sure to check that out. Thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing and for sharing this video. I'll see you guys next time.